Welcome to the Jameson Files. I'm your host, Carrie Weber, and it's so great to be back with all of you again. And I have another new member of the two-time guest club, my good friend, Kevin Henry.
Hey,
For those of you that don't know who Kevin is, let me give you a little refresher. He's the founder of Dental Assistant Nation, and he's also the editor-in-chief of Dr. Bicuspid. So if any of you are on the Dr. Bicuspid email list like I am, or visit their site on a regular basis like I do, this is your guy. And Kevin's been in the industry. I think we've been in dentistry about the same amount of time, Kevin, don't you think?
I think so. I think we came in about the same time, which I consider that a badge of honor.
I do
Absolutely.
too. Now we're kind of members of some kind of OG club, which I still feel young at heart. So that's hard for me to wrap my head around. But
I'm
alas,
okay
here we
with
are.
that.
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Absolutely right, my friend.
Now, the last time that you were on, we focused quite a bit of our time on assistants because
Yeah,
you have a tremendous heart for the dental assistants in our profession, and through Dental Assistant Nation, you provide a lot of great resources. You speak across the country on subjects that are relevant to our dental assistants on our teams, but I like to focus this time on your insights and your intel
yeah.
on trends in dentistry because of your role as the editor in chief of Dr. Bicuspid. And you've been in that editorial role in a variety of dental publications over the years. So you've seen a lot of trends. You've kind of been on the forefront just with the information that's coming your way and the meetings that you attend on a regular basis. I have to imagine that you've seen a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you and I came into this about the same time, and it's 26th year of being in the dental journalism side of things with dental economics, dental product support, now Dr. Bicuspid. And what a change it's been. I mean, I remember whenever we launched e-newsletters. I remember whenever we launched Dentistry IQ, as a
Yeah.
website and how cool that was going to be and all this stuff. I still remember, honest to goodness, one of the first magazines that I put together when I was at the dental economics side of things. We had an industry magazine called Proofs, and we literally
Wow.
did a magazine that listed all the websites in it, and we mailed that out. I'm just like, I look back at that now and I'm like, wow, how technology savvy was that? But
Yeah.
so this is how much we've changed, right?
This is how far we've come. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, we've seen a lot. Some things, I always say some things never change. There are some aspects of our profession and the things that dental practices need to be aware of and working on that really don't change. But there are some things that are changing at light speed, and the needs and the issues that practices face, or the things that they're having to evolve into and be aware of, those seem to be changing on the daily.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like there's a new company, a new service, a new tool, a new resource, a new, every other day. And there are aspects of dentistry that we are finding after all this time, you really have to have people in your corner that's all they focus on, because some aspects of the dental practice are changing and are so complex now that it's like, wow, you need a lot of help in those areas.
Well, it has to be the right people.
Yeah.
That's the key because I mean, I go to meetings, like you. I go to a lot of meetings, and like you see a lot of folks out there and they're banging the drum about AI. That's one of the
Yes.
hot topics right now.
Mhm.
And everybody's an AI expert right now.
Mhm.
Everybody is talking about how AI is going to change the practice, but it's really hard to nail down how is AI really going to change the practice? The two big things that I hear are it's going to help you with radiographs, it's going to help you spot caries, it's going to help you with those cracks in the teeth, whatever that might be, and then it's going to help
Mhm.
you on the insurance and the billing side of things as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
But there's so many people that are hopping on the AI train, it feels like which which conductor do you hop on with?
Yeah.
That's a challenge, I think. And
Yeah.
and honestly, from my perspective as a journalist, it's AI is really changing how we do a lot and how we're trying to provide content to the
Mm.
dentists and the team members out there as well, because AI is changing how we all ingest things. I think we are very much a society where we want things given to us very quickly.
Mhm.
People are changing from asking Google to asking Claude or asking Chat GPT now for answers. And
Mhm.
it's changing how we do things as journalists, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's interesting, when we were talking about what trends do we wanna talk about. I mean, of course, AI is at the top. I mean, in the meetings, like you said, Kevin, we go to a lot of the, continuing education meetings and conferences around the country, and more courses, are being presented on the subject of AI in those various ways that you just mentioned. It was interesting, I saw Dr. Lynn Tao, who's a bird eye,
Yep.
present just this last week. And if you ever get to see Lynn present, it's a really great course um, on building reviews and helping with your online presence and so on. But he talked about that we're entering into what he called the zero click apocalypse,
Oh,
meaning that more and more and more of users, in terms of what they call user experience in online, in your marketing and in online search, that a lot of their searches are going to involve zero clicks. Because,
mhm.
and you had just mentioned it before we recorded. See, Kevin, I said, I'm going to say 10 times before we recorded when
Yeah,
we talked for 20 minutes. Um, but you had even said that you're seeing this in the users, of Dr.
yeah.
Bicuspid, that they're not, we're searching, and whatever AI is summarizing, is, I think that's what you said, is helping us find what we're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, think about if you Google something right now and you ask it, a question, it provides an AI summary now at the very
Mhm,
top before it gives you the listing of potential websites to go to that could answer that question. And so I think Lynn's exactly right. The zero click apocalypse is upon us. And we're trying to figure out, I mean, honestly, right before you and I started recording and we came on to chit chat a little bit before,
mhm,
I had a meeting with my editorial team because our page views are they're slipping. And
mm,
we're trying to figure out how do we still engage with our readers whenever they're getting all their information from a little AI summary and they don't really
mhm,
need to read what we're putting out there anymore.
mhm.
It's an ever-changing puzzle, and I don't know that I've really got the answer to that right now, which is kind of the scary part.
Yeah. And I think that's an interesting, thing for you to bring up, a new kind of a fascinating new turn of events, I'll say.
Yeah.
For you all in dental media, is the same thing that dental practices actually need to be aware of, is that your content, has to be delivered and presented and given in a way where Google considers it relevant and real enough,
Mhm.
so that when a person searches something specifically, you're one of those resources that gets pulled up in AI search.
Yeah.
And so that relevance, and you talk about this a lot from a writing perspective too, is we can't, and, it's funny, I have two teenage sons, and their teachers are always banging the drum of like, don't you dare, we're going to
Oh,
run this
absolutely.
through AI check, we're going to run your papers through AI check
Oh,
to
yeah.
make sure that you're actually doing your work. And I don't know if they really are, but they're putting, the threat is real.
The threat is
And
there.
the threat is there. But it is actually a very real thing to Google, that if we're all just trying to use the cheat code, it recognizes what is, you know true content, unique, what they call unique content from you and about you, or
Yep.
that you're providing, versus what they call plagiarized, like, is a
Oh, yeah.
journalism term,
Nice.
plagiarized content, or canned content, copied content.
Yeah.
So that uniqueness to content is still very important, because AI is curating that and looking for what's unique and what's organic and real, versus anything that they think you pulled from them in the
Yep.
first place.
And I will tell you, it's so easy and it's such a
Mhm,
slippery slope. And I will tell you, I love writing with every ounce of my being. I teach writing. I will hang on to it to my, bitter end. But I will tell you, I know how easy it is to ask Claude to say, write me a 750 word article on billing
Yeah,
and the things to do. But I will tell you, it's funny. Your son's teachers, I'm doing that. I'm
yeah,
actually running articles that I receive from consultants through an AI check, and I will tell you, I've rejected two just in the last week because they're not human written. They're
yeah,
AI. So
yeah.
one of the things that we're starting to do at Dr. B, and you'll see this toward as the year goes along, is that we may say this article was written by Carrie Weber with assistance from Claude or with assistance from ChatGPT. We're going to start asking our authors, how much did you use AI? I don't mind
Mm.
if you use AI to edit it, if you spruce it up a little bit, to clean it up. I don't mind that, but I still want yours to kind of be the heartbeat of it, to really be the foundation and the soul of it, because I want Carrie Weber's voice to be the baseline of it rather than just it being pure AI. And I think that's what I'm trying to tell all of my authors right now is that our readers still deserve that human voice rather than just you typing in and asking Claude to do your work for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we it's hard to tell. It feels like it's the Wild West, it
Yeah,
feels very like, what is this gonna look like? We're so in the midst of its kind of absolute launch into the atmosphere. I feel like that um uh, in business, in any aspect of business, whether you're writing and contributing to a media outlet like Dr. Bicuspid, or you're a dental practice looking to really rise above in search and
yeah,
attract the right patients, um, uh, these tools are being taught by humans and then evolving in its own. And I think dentistry will always still have a piece of it that has to be relationship and has to be real, and you have to be the provider of that. And eh, because if it doesn't sound like me, if it's not me, I mean, the reality once a patient steps into the practice is going to be a really determining factor if we're going to continue to build value, if we're going to break that trust immediately. And so, yeah, through the way you can use AI in radiographs, to the way that you can use AI with your insurance management, to the way that you can use AI, my goodness, now they're starting to really integrate it into telephones and
absolutely. Yeah,
that kind of conversation, all the way into the way that you use AI to manage your online presence, and to manage content that you're putting out there and making sure you are being seen, and you're checking all the boxes, because even your external marketing is going to become extremely difficult for a marketing coordinator and a dental team. It already is
yeah.
to do all the things and what I would call the pillars of marketing, is extremely difficult for one marketing coordinator in a dental practice to accomplish. And so to have that understanding that yes, you can use these tools, but you have to learn when, where, and how to use them correctly so that you get the success that you're looking for.
And one thing that, and you and I didn't talk about this in our chit chat before, but
Ooh.
in the call right before with my editorial team, one of the things that got brought up is that there's a bill in New York State right now that's going through their state senate that they are considering asking the makers of AI, the Anthropics of the world, because what they're finding is that people are using AI, customers are using AI to ask legal questions, to ask
Oh,
medical questions, to diagnose, I've got a toothache. What does that mean? And so they want to make sure that AI isn't giving legal advice or medical advice before they ever walk into a court or before into a dental practice. And so,
wow.
we've always joked about Dr. Google for years, and I think the dentists and team members need to be aware that Dr. Claude is now being used in this way by a lot of people as well. Does this tooth really look infected? Are these gums really irritated enough that I need to
Yeah.
go in?
And something that I've learned and I'm learning, and I'm gonna, quite frankly, there's aspects of it that I'm like, huh? But this is a perfect example of an area where you cannot, dental friends out there, you cannot put your head in the sand and
Yeah.
pretend like this isn't happening. This is very much going to be an evolutionary way of, I mean, it's going to change consumer behavior for forever.
Mhm.
It's gonna change how it's already happening. It's gonna change how we seek information. It's gonna change how we receive information. It's gonna change what we do with that information. It's gonna change behavior.
Yeah.
And best to do your research and start to learn and start to see and explore and how this is going to integrate into your businesses and start taking the steps forward you need to make sure that it has the right places in your business and you're doing things in the right way with it. um so AI, number one trend in
There you
dentistry.
go. There you
um
go. Absolutely.
let's kind of flip into that a little bit, Kevin, and let's talk about education and information because I think those are going a little hand in hand.
Yeah.
We've talked several times. It's so great to have good friends that are kind of traveling the journey very similarly because we can compare notes, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, being in, the profession for 26 years and I've really seen it even beyond that when my parents were, launching the Jameson group and so on. So, I'm not gonna tell y'all how many years I've been going to it's depressing. But the way that dentists and teams are getting their information and being trained and getting CE, that's changing.
Absolutely.
I don't know that I have my finger on the pulse of where that's going necessarily, but do you have some insights? What are you seeing? What do you think the direction of continuing education is going?
I think that, I was lucky enough to come to Oklahoma City to speak to a great DPLN. I was lucky enough to get to spend time with you in Oklahoma City, which was great.
Mm,
And the one thing that the energy that was in that group that
mhm,
night, I really enjoyed it. It was a small room, it was a small group, and I really think that's where meetings are going. I think it's
mhm,
more smaller, more focused, one topic. I worry for the bigger meetings, the ones that have always been so traditional. This year will be the first year that Greater New York has shortened to 3 days of an
mm,
exhibit hall. There is no Wednesday now at Greater New York. For those of us who went for years, and the joke was always to get out before the Christmas tree was lit. And
yeah,
New York shut down. We don't have to worry about that anymore because there is no Wednesday on the exhibit hall. Now there's Tuesday only, or it stops on Tuesday, I should say.
yeah,
So I think there's a lot of change happening with dental meetings because the dental meeting attendee has changed. And I think a
yeah.
lot of folks, my daughter is 27, which is really weird to say. She's
Wow.
a young professional, a doctor of physical therapy, but I will tell you, she's very honest about it. She learns a lot through TikTok.
Mhm.
She does a lot of her stuff through online chat, through little study groups that she has with her peers. A lot of things that she can do in her pajamas at night,
Mhm.
and it doesn't require her to go anywhere. And I think that's what we've got to realize about this next generation, and what your boys do whenever they get out into the real world and how they're
Mhm.
going to learn. It's different than how you and I did it, for sure.
Yeah. I agree that there's still a place for in person,
Oh
but
yeah,
I do think the consumer, which is for this particular topic is dentists and dental teams, dental practices. I think they're going niche. I agree, Kevin. I think they're looking for either a specific type of vibe, right? Or, community,
yep,
or they're looking for an area of focus that is at their top priority um to improve and to sharpen.
yeah,
um uh, and I do think I do think it's important to for everyone to know, like, I think it's going hybrid. I think people, to your point, to our younger generations, they're going to be very interested in online still and always. That's how they're learning a lot. They're just that's how they consume information.
yeah,
And so to be online and to evolve with that, but then also to really, I think, if you are a dentist or a team that's looking for education, do your homework. I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunities out there. I think some of the big meetings are still giving great information and great
Oh,
training. And if you
absolutely.
want a team experience, I think those are great places to go.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of great small, more study club size groups that are really starting to, I think, come to the forefront in driving continuing education.
Look at the ADOMs, the RDH Under One Roofs, the Thrive Lives, the Didn't Splice Corona Worlds.
Mhm.
They're smaller meetings, but they all have like one goal or one
Yeah,
reason that everybody comes together. And
yeah,
I think that the more general, the Hinmans, the Yankees, the Chicago
mhm,
Midwinters, it's a harder sell for them now.
yeah,
Even though there's something for everybody on the team, it's still a harder sell because at least with those other meetings, there's one purpose, as you said, for everybody to
yeah.
come.
I mean, you think about, clinically, Coyce, Dawson, Pankey, Spear, all of those are still very much, growing, thriving, and, people are looking for that, and that's still it's Seattle Study Club, and those are still all around, but they are smaller.
Yeah,
They're smaller and they're focused. And so I think there's always going to be a place for it, but time will tell how this really evolves. And in publications, just like you're saying, Kevin, I mean, you're seeing the impact of AI, you're seeing the impact of how readers are seeking information and are consuming information. And I have to imagine that's changed significantly over the last 2 decades.
absolutely. And think about this: if there's anywhere that Carrie Weber's lecture is online,
Mhm.
somebody can ask Chat or Claude, "Hey, summarize this lecture for me,"
Mm,
and they can get the key points from your lecture without ever hearing you. And I think that's what we have to realize as speakers. That's what we have to realize as meeting planners is that this is really what we're up against
mhm,
is that people want the information in bite-sized chunks.
mhm,
And are they really willing to invest 3 hours anymore? As much as I love to hear you talk, and I know a
mhm,
lot of people do because I come in your rooms, but I also think that the temptation is there to say, summarize this for me.
mhm,
And then
mhm.
people can walk away with that as well.
It's the case of the USA Todays.
Yeah,
You know
honestly,
how they like
they
the little
did.
summaries? They've
They
been doing that
started
for
it, you're
years.
right.
They
Yeah,
did it. Um, yeah, I think I would encourage people to really think about, I always say when you're vision planning and strategic planning for your year, think about where and how, and what you want to receive from an education standpoint. Because just because the way that we are learning and growing and developing is changing, I want to encourage everybody, don't stop. Don't stop seeking out information that's going to help you achieve your goals. It's going to help you be better next year than you were this year. Find your goals of what you want to accomplish and then seek out education and the places where that education is being provided that helps you achieve those specific goals. It's a little bit more educated approach to seeking out the right type of education for your continuous development, and the resources like Dr. Bicuspid that keep you in the know. I always want to encourage people to read the studies, read what the Health Policy Institute is telling us about
oh, yeah.
behaviors, read what the quarterly reports from the analytics companies are telling us, read what Dental Post just put out their annual report about salaries. I think it's really important for anyone that's in this profession that wants to be a leader in your practice or in your business to know the trends and know what's happening, and do your own work or seek out places and people like Kevin that can help you get that information.
Well, and preach, first of all, absolutely. I'm right there with you. And if you're going to rely on that AI summary at the top, there's usually a little link there that if in the summary, click on that.
Yeah.
Dive a little deeper than just the two sentences. I completely
Yeah.
agree with what you just
Tell me more. Let me read the context of this sound bite.
said. Exactly.
The context of the sound bite would be very important.
A little key
Um,
there. Absolutely.
um, a couple more minutes with you. I want to steal you for just a couple more minutes. And
Absolutely.
the trend that keeps on trending
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
staffing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Um, and I feel like I heard you a couple of years ago at Hinman. You shook my bones because you were talking about what studies are saying
Yeah.
about um, the state of employment for and availability, basically the supply and demand, especially in our clinical team members, but probably overall in dental practices. What are you seeing now, Kevin? What do you anticipate?
I'm still a Eeyore, to be honest with you. I mean, it's you look at what the ADA Health Policy Institute is putting out there. You look at what some other studies from economists are putting out there. There's no magic faucet that's going to turn on, and all of a sudden, here comes a bunch of hygienists or assistants. It's just not going to happen. So, I think that dentists need to understand that if you have a team that you like, you've got to keep them. You've got to do what you have to do to keep those people with you because there's not going to be an influx of new talent come in to replace the assistant that you may lose. Now, granted, if you're in a metro area, you know that you may always have options, but just know that every dental practice is looking for somebody. It feels like right now, and so I think the key is really culture. It's knowing your employees, it's believing in them, letting them understand that you're in as invested in them as you hope they are in you, and really understanding that um, if there's an employee that maybe you're having issues with, you know, really figuring out how much can you tolerate from that employee because
Mhm.
there may not be a better solution out there with what's happening in terms of the shortage. Just to be perfectly frank.
I was with an amazing doctor last week, and she was talking about her team and had a lot of long term team, amazing team. It's a very strong practice,
Nice.
and she was talking about all of these things that they provide to their employees, a lot of benefits, and that kind of cultural environment, Kevin, that you talked about, that they are really trying to nurture there professionally and how they take care of patients and the type of dentistry, very elevated,
Yeah,
comprehensive dentistry with some complexities to it. And she said, if you want to attract great team, if you want to keep them, you have to provide these types of benefits and this type of environment, and that's a place where they can thrive and they want to stay.
yeah,
And I'll also say, I think a lot of practices wait too long to start searching for the new team member that they need. I can't tell you how many times I talk to practices that knows somebody's leaving and
yep,
they still haven't started, because there's a lot of reasons. People can quit, yes, or we have to let people go. And then there are some that have to move or they have
sure,
to have a change in, a change in life, whatever it is. And when you know those things, that's when you start putting feelers out
you have to.
because you cannot assume that it's going to be a quick fill of a position. And man, some people that are listening to this are really in a painful area, like a desert
Yeah,
of finding great team, especially our hygienists. I mean, I'm sorry, those are still tough seats to fill after several years of struggling there. And gosh, right after the pandemic, and I think we talked about this in the last episode, but I think about this on a regular basis. So I guess it's just in my insanity. We lost 8 or 9% right after the pandemic of our hygienists. And then when I saw you speak, like you were saying that the numbers are going to continue to
they
trend
are.
exit for
They are.
hygienists and assistants.
They are, and it's part of the aging out process. It's part of the just people getting burned out process. You
Mhm,
know, you hit something a minute ago about you've got to provide for these team members, and
mhm,
I understand that dentists are going, you know, my gosh, you know, insurance reimbursement is tough right now. You know, it's tight, and I get that. But there's an economist that I listen to so strongly, and one of the things that he's predicting is that team costs are going to rise 5% every year moving forward. You know, just that's what we're going to have to do to keep our team members together. And so I think
mhm.
we've got to start thinking in terms of how much is your team really worth to you
Wow.
and being able to work that into your business plan and making sure that again you can not only afford them but that there's business coming in to make sure that you're making some money as well.
Yeah. It's something to not, again, no head in the sand, people.
No, no, you can't.
No head in the sand. How can we adapt? How can we grow? How can we um, be a thriving business that also nurtures a thriving team? And that takes intention, and attention.
I like that.
We cannot just drift in a day-to-day cruise control and think that everything's going to be great forever.
No.
We can't. And that everybody's gonna stay and everybody's gonna just we're gonna assume everybody's happy and gonna stay forever. That's just not the nature of the workforce anymore. That's something Gen Xers, boomers, well, just take a job, keep the job. Um, that is not the nature of the workforce anymore in general. And so, people are looking more and more for meaning and money. And we
Yeah,
have to always, as leaders and business owners, be in a state of evolving and seeking out ways to nurture and feed into our team, because you pour in your team, they pour into your patients, and your practice thrives.
absolutely. Amen.
Amen. Kevin, let's just go ahead and have you on for a third round. You can be the first member of the third time guest
Oh, I
club.
get a velvet jacket or something. That'd be awesome. I would take that any day of the week. That'd be great.
Maybe a pin. Maybe I'll send you a pin.
Ooh, I'll take that. Even better.
How can people find you? Tell me some places that people
Yeah.
can connect to you.
So drbicuspid.com, drbicuspid.com, or if you want to reach out to me, a real easy way is Kevin at kevinspeaksdental.com, and certainly happy to help in any way that I can.
And great podcasts of your own, yes?
Yeah, Dental Assistant Nation. If you got a dental assistant that just needs 15 minutes of encouragement every Monday, hey, we've got a new episode that comes out. So check out dentalassistantnation.com, wherever you get your podcasts.
It's a great podcast. It's a great publication, and that's all led by a really amazing person. So,
I
Kevin, I
appreciate it.
appreciate you. Thank you so much for being with me again.
Thanks, my friend.
And thanks to all
Appreciate
of you for joining us. Be well, and we'll see you next time.